Ben Jealous, the former president of the NAACP, has been one of the leading African American supporters of presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. At the Campaign for America's Future, where he attended a roundtable discussion of the future of the Sanders political movement, I asked Jealous about the prospects for making that movement truly multiracial, given that a majority of African American voters in the Democratic primaries voted for Hillary Clinton.
The first thing we have to recognize is that the progressive movement exists in both campaigns. And that's especially true. Look, many of these black leaders are part of a larger progressive movement, right? That includes the civil rights movement, the labor movement, the women's rights movement, and specifically the most activist elements of all those movements. And for whatever reason, in some cases because their union endorsed Hillary, even though a majority of members may have been supportive of Sanders, for reasons having to do with old ties or just simply familiarity. You found the progressive movement split between two campaigns, dominant in the Sanders campaign, riding kind of shotgun in the Clinton campaign, but existing in both campaigns. And it's especially true in the Southeast. And so coming out of this, as we build a progressive movement, a few things. One, we have to recognize that a lot of the energy is going to come further down the ballot. A lot of the energy is going to be about, who's running for Congress, who's running for city council. And that will turn folks out. And the folks in the progressive who will support them, yes, many of them may come from the Sanders campaign, many of them also will come from the Clinton campaign. Clinton didn't just win sort of dominantly, say, in the Southeast in the black community. She won dominantly in the Southeast, period, amongst Democrats. And so if we're going to build majorities, we're going to need Clinton supporters, and part of that is being humble enough to recognize that that it's not just Sanders supporters who are progressive. On the issue of the black community and issues that are important to us, I think part of the legacy of the Sanders campaign is to identify there's a lot of black folks who are very concerned about trade issues. People, I don't think, were as aware of that. But when you saw us really, for instance, move into the Midwest, or even into Missouri, which is sort of border Midwest and Mid-South, picking up twice as many black voters as we had in the Southeast, it was trade that was credited with that. At the same time, we've also identified in the Southeast a lot of whites who are not just young, older whites, not just women, men as well, and working class, who are very concerned and committed to advancing racial justice. And so we have to build on those strengths. That we've actually shown that there are greater commonalities in agenda that span across silos than many people, quite frankly, had the courage to explore before. That's part of the real gift of this campaign.
What are the lessons to be learned about how do we talk about these issues in a way that is more inclusive and which is framed much better than, frankly, a lot of people thought the Sanders campaign initially framed them?
The most important thing, I think, is to speak from a place of optimism, both about human nature. To go into a conversation about trade or about getting money out of politics, and you find yourself in a black church, or you find yourself in speaking to Democrats in Mississippi, and understand there's more people who care about those issues in that room than any poll might suggest, the experience you might have had it suggest. Similarly, to find yourself in front of a group of white Southern progressives, maybe in the Ozarks, as I did, and have the optimism to talk about the need for us to end police killing unarmed black men, and come there with the expectation that they will respond well. This campaign taught us a few things. One is there's a lot of black people who are very concerned about trade. Another is there's a lot of white people in the South who are very concerned about ending the killing of unarmed black men by the police. Another is people will respond well if you believe you can win. Everybody said, all the experts said Bernie couldn't win, but he believed he could win. Mm-hmm. And he organized based on that belief. It wasn't like it was just simply his belief, but it was that belief pushed those around him to actually go all out. And that's a lesson he learned from Dr. King. Dr. King learned from his father and his grandfather, and the women of his family, and that we have to teach to the rising generation of progressives that the only way to win is to dream outside the box and then impose the box. If you're staring at that box trying to dream outside of it, your dreams will be limited by it. And that's, I think, what makes me optimistic about the future of progressive politics in this country is we have an unprecedentedly large number of young rising activists who only know how to dream outside the box and yet have been learning through these campaigns how to build a very different, larger, more inclusive box.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.